That's a hell of a title. Downtown Special Kunio-kun no Jidaigeki da yo Zennin Shuugou. Which means you're probably wondering, the hell's a Jidaigeki? I guess the term we'd use in English is period piece, a production in modern time about a historical era. Quite specifically, the Edo era from the early 17th to the late 19th centuries. So that tells us the setting. The fact that it says Kunio-kun in the title means that it's going to look, sound, and probably play like River City Ransom, and it does. It also tells us that it came to us via our old friend Ahmed in New York, who's fast becoming to Kunio-kun titles what Felicity in Worcestershire is to hamsters. But that's where the truth in the title ends. If we were to presume Downtown Special has any meaning, we'd expect Hamada and Matsumoto to show up, and unfortunately you don't get to beat them around. It's a trek through cities and countrysides and waterfalls and whatnot, all to find medicine for your long-suffering master. Plot's out of the way, good. You're not here for the plot. You're here because you want more River City Ransom. And well, this is about as true a sequel as that game ever got. The primary difference, though, is in the flow of the game, as you're not nearly as limited as you were in previous titles. There can be multiple exits to each screen, coming together to form a fairly complex and diverse world map, as opposed to, well, downtown. That said, with great freedom comes great risk of getting lost as hell, and Kunio is not exactly the kind to cease his distribution of knuckle sandwiches for the sake of drawing a map. So unless you, John Q. Famicom player, have your own pad for notes, you're probably going to have a difficult time of it. Fortunately, what the game might lack in organization, it makes up for in beatings. Yes, you're not here to enact period dramas and get all deep about your accents and speech patterns of the era. You're here to introduce any rival gang members to your fists. To that end, you've got all the punching, kicking, jump attacking, ground attacking, picking up and using fools as bludgeons, and foe chucking shenanigans you'd expect from River City Ransom, just in 18th century Japan. You even get a CPU partner if you're not adventuring with a friend who does his best to get in the way while you're rearranging some schmo's face. Fine by me, even if the actual mechanics can sometimes be a bit on the floaty side. Look at Kunio showing Michael Jordan just who the greatest player in the universe is. In fact, were it not for a distinct increase in outdoor scenes, you'd be hard-pressed to tell this nonsense apart from its more familiar predecessor. The large emotive sprites that are a calling card of the series see only minor distortions from the forms you're familiar with, and let's be honest, past Kunio, you're probably just addressing them by their haircuts anyway. Of interesting note is the calligrapher storyteller dude who pops up between scene transitions just to throw a couple lines of dialogue at you. Which is weird, because this isn't a Famicom Disk System game and doesn't even have loading times to compensate for. It's all just flavor. Similarly, the soundtrack is the kind of Technos Japan quality you've come to love from any number of sports games where you beat the bejesus out of any number of opponents for fun and profit. So if you're looking for a bit of creative history, and by creative, I mean gang brawls for the sake of it, go ahead and brave that rather intimidating name. Just make sure you've got a map on hand, and some brass knuckles wouldn't hurt either.